So for me, the best part about Todos is that it tells the entire story of what we do in one single bottle, which is kind of the most perfect way to encapsulate our message. Todos is everything and everyone, so it's every grape we grow on the property, which is basically the entire Noah's Ark of grapes, right? It's Syrah, Sangiovese, Merlot, Cab Franc, Cab Sauv, there was a little Grenache back in the day, it's Sauv Blanc, Semillon, Viognier, and Petit Syrah actually, so 11 grapes. It all started back in 2004, our first vintage at JONATA, and we sat down to blend those wines, the 2004 vintage, in end of 2005. And I remember sitting there, and we put all the wines on the table, and we had all those varieties, and we didn't really know what we were going to bottle or what varieties deserved to be bottled. And we basically sat down and said, let's taste all these wines and determine which of them have a loud enough voice to demand a bottle, right? So we went through, and Cabernet Franc, varietally sincere, it demanded a bottling. Sangiovese, varietally sincere, demanded a bottling. They spoke about a place, and they spoke about a grape. Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, all these grapes really just jumped out. And at the end of the day, we had made these wines, the Desafio and the Alma and the Tierra, and for me, out of my top 10 wines, 8 of them were still on the table, because maybe they didn't speak of a varietal sincerity, but they spoke of a geographical sincerity and a specific point of place. They spoke of JONATA. They were maybe a little bit more hedonistic, they were a little bit more driven by fruit, by power, and in kind of a joking spirit at the time, we said, well, why don't we just throw them all together? And by some magic energy in the room, they all worked really, really well. And that's really kind of a rare thing, I've determined. So that became Todos. And every year we learn a little bit more about the blend. We focus more on a couple blocks that maybe, like I was saying, show a little bit more of that hedonism, a little bit more of that fruit density and attack, that velvet feel, that's that kind of suave fruit silk. And we leave some blocks out a little bit longer. We focus on co-fermenting a little bit more Viognier for aromatic expression, for that kind of exotic side of Todos. And we've learned things along the way. We've learned that Syrah is a beautiful base for this wine, but Syrah doesn't play well with others. You can't invite Syrah to your party. You have to take your friends to Syrah's party. So we always start by making a base of the best Syrah we have. A base of this really intense black fruit, this Ballard Canyon concentration with that really bright, fresh acidity. And then we add complexity via the herbaceousness of Cabernet Franc, the kind of pencil shaving graphite and cassis of Cabernet Sauvignon, a little bit of tannic force from Petit Verdot, some earthy, rustic red cherry fruit from Sangiovese, the floral notes of Viognier, the absolute base notes of Petit Syrah, which actually plays very well with Syrah. They're good friends or cousins, apparently. But at the end of the day, we come up with this wine that, it just, when I pop the cork, it smells like JONATA, it tastes like JONATA. And it's incredibly nuanced, and in addition to its tremendous power. And it's a wonderful wine because if you spend enough time with the bottle, you can sense every grape. Every grape has its moment to shine. You can smell Cabernet Sauvignon, you can smell Cabernet Franc, you can feel Petit Verdot tannins, you can feel kind of the muscular Petit Syrah addition. And at the end of the day, you just get this sensation that's purely JONATA.